Well, and I think that social media gives people the impression that they are in a community. And by community, I mean that you have a group of people that come from different points of view, different backgrounds, different financial stability, and they collide with one another, and they have an exchange of ideas, and then they go apart, and then they come back together and they go apart. But the benefit is, because you're going to see these people again, whether it's at church or at your Elks Club or whatever, your kids' Boy Scout troop, whatever it is, it was not the zero-sum game of, if I disagree with this person, I'm going to annihilate them, which is what social media has done. It's made us feel like we're connected with a community, but we're not. We're only being shown those things that will drive our emotions high enough to get us to keep coming back and keep clicking that refresh button so you get more and more ads. And I think that it's a path that nobody saw coming, but now seems like something we should deeply fight against.
Yeah, and I'll reflect a little further back to when I was in college, getting my bachelor's degree in the early 2000s, and how I went to a liberal arts school, and there were some professors there that had some pretty strict opinions of the world, let's just say. And civil discourse would occur, but that zero-sum culture that you're talking about seemed to have been beginning to emerge within the universities, where sometimes you could have polite disagreements, but other times it did turn into almost a I have to annihilate you type thing. And then social media comes about, it starts growing, and it becomes a bigger fuel for that fire to go. And so I've kind of seen the last 20 years evolve into this zero-sum culture where you do have to, or you feel compelled to destroy somebody because you disagree with them.
Yeah, and when we're talking about zero sum, for anybody that doesn't know, that this means there can only be one winner. That everybody else loses, and there's one superior, triumphant leader. And when I was in international relations, they often talk about how zero sum is a trap, because there is no one country that ends up winning and dominating. Because even if you had one country, let's say Germany's march to, their hellscape that they wanted to inflict on everyone, eventually somebody would have come up and broken that regime up. Eventually somebody comes in and will break it up, and then you have a whole bunch of different countries or a whole bunch of different ideas. And this idea that one idea in a classroom or one position on Facebook, it really has changed a fundamental part of our culture, because we really are a culture of meritocracy, where you have a hierarchy of ideas, and it's not like the one idea at the top is the ultimate winner and they decide everything. It's saying, well, I mostly like that idea, but then I see some value in these other ideas down here. But in the social media, and I would say the direction the universities have gone in, it is not a meritocracy. It is an honor culture. And it is that somebody besmirches you or somebody attacks your point of view, and there is no other choice. If you are to survive, you have to fight all the way back and get other people to agree that they are bad and evil and wrong. And it's a terrible change for our culture.
Yeah, I agree. And my exposure to zero sum, yours being in international relations through diplomacy and things like that, mine actually occurred through economics and studying international trade when I was in graduate school. And the professor came up to the class and said, this was during the Bush administration. There's a tremendous narrative going around that if we're trading with China, there's a winner and a loser. And he said, that's not the case. In international trade, you have to have winners on both sides in order for that trade to continue and for those economies to prosper. But right now, there was this thought then in the latter half of the last decade where there was a winner and loser in international trade, and that just is not the case.
Thanks for checking out this podcast short. If you like this interview, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button and hit that bell so you always get notified about this podcast. And if you're really interested in conversations like this, you may want to consider joining the Articulate Ventures Network. To find out more, go to network.articulate.ventures.